welcome to another episode of Unturned Stones. On today's podcast, I'm going to be interviewing Shaun Kopplin. This is an interview I've been a little excited for a while to do, and wanted to ask you about, actually before I started podcast, kind of ask you if you'd be interested, because I
remember. Yeah.
I knew you'd be somebody who would be very good to speak to, as you've lived a lot of life, you've had a lot of experiences, and I think people would benefit from hearing some of your perspective on life and perspective on things you've been through. So this is one I'm very, very excited to talk about with you today. So just to kind of start the podcast off, can you guys just do a little introduction about yourself, where you're from, where you grew up, stuff like that?
All right. My name's Shaun. I go by Webb now, but it was Copeland, which is Copeland is my stepdad's name. I had to go through the courts to get my name switched back to Webb because I got into a lot of trouble, and I used a lot of aliases when I was younger. So now my name's Webb, or Webb Copeland. They hyphenated it as well. But I was born in Milwaukee, and my mom didn't want me growing up out here. So we moved to Grafton, and I grew up there. And then I got in some trouble when I was in Grafton. We moved to Port Washington, and I grew up. If anyone's familiar with the area, I grew up in the trailer park where when you come into town by like the George Webbs and the Justice Center, and then I'm from there. I was just till I hit my teen years. Like I was bouncing around from like group homes in my teen years from getting into trouble, but mainly I grew up in the Port Washington area, the Ozaki County area.
Okay.
Before moving back out here to Milwaukee.
How old are you?
I'm 43.
43. Okay.
Yeah. I was born in 80.
80. Okay. So you got to, it's like you got to live through some of the 80s, through like some of your early younger years.
Yeah.
And you really lived through the 90s. Like,
yeah. The 90s. Yeah. Were kind of fun.
Yeah. So you have a stepdad, and sorry, I said Copeland. It's
Copeland.
Copeland.
Yeah. It's actually, it's German, and it's Copeland.
Copeland. Okay.
Yeah, but no one ever pronounces it right anyway, so I really don't care. I gave up, correcting people, so I don't even care.
I know sometimes correcting people on your name is just like,
or even when I go to Starbucks, like how do you spell your name? It doesn't matter. Just throw it on there.
Just you say it, I'll recognize it.
I'm 43 years old. I do not care what you address me as anymore.
So, how long has your mom been with your stepdad?
It's my whole life.
Okay. So did you know your real dad?
No, my real dad, I don't know I've never seen a picture of him. I'd have to search to even find his name. I don't know any of that family. He committed suicide before I was born. According to my mom, he didn't even know that she was pregnant. So I don't know. I've tried to dig into it a little bit, but my ambition always runs slow, and I'm just like, I don't really give a shit, because the unturned stone, what are you going to find? Are you going to like what you find?
Yeah.
Type shit, so it's kind of like, maybe when I get enough, maybe when I'm old, I'm older now, but like maybe in a couple of years when I retire or whatever, and I have extra time, I can just jump into it and actually figure out my lineage using I'm on that Ancestry.com thing. So I did the swab and all that. So I can see a lot of the people that I have no clue who the fuck they are through the bloodline.
Yeah. Maybe
I could explore that a little bit more, but I just don't have the fucking time or energy right now to do it. I'm too focused on life.
Now, is that when you've tried to bring it up with your mom, has it been a hard conversation for her to have?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that was, that's an emotional.
Yeah, every time I bring it up, she's very standoffish. She's like, Mom, why are you bringing this up again? Well, kind of because it pertains to me and who the fuck I am. You know what I'm saying? I see a therapist, obviously, and she's even, my therapist is even like this, your whole life you just spent trying to figure out who you are, where you come from, and you've not been able to pinpoint that. So it's kind of your whole life you've been kind of confused. So yeah, that makes sense.
So then your stepdad's been around then for as long as you've known him, since you were born. Did you know he was your stepdad when you were young? Okay, right away your mom and him told you.
Yeah.
As soon as you were kind of able to talk and communicate and understand.
And I almost wish that they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Because that caused a huge rift between him and I. Like the whole, you're not my fucking real dad type
Okay.
shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you to come and tell me what to do?
We're like
So I
that.
had that attitude as a young kid, which wasn't good to have to the person that's trying to discipline you.
So was that like not there at all till you knew, and that like that really?
I
Just
knew the whole
fractured?
time from as far back as I can remember. I always known he was my stepdad.
Okay.
There was not a moment that I didn't know that he wasn't.
Okay.
They met. My stepdad and my mom met. My nana, she was working at this diner called Rich's in Cedarburg, and her son Andy, which is my stepdad, and my mom used to go there. So that's how they, oh, hey, and that happened, But she was pregnant with me when they met. So they started dating after that, so he's been around my whole life, like now that I'm older and more mature about the situation, like that's my father, like.
Do you call him dad?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I have since I was a kid though too.
Yeah.
They just sat me down and was like, hey, he's not your real dad. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're young, you don't really fucking get it at that point. But, as you grow up, you're like, oh, yeah, you're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do.
So then,
Yeah.
you guys kind of had like a little bit of a fractured relationship when you were younger, and you were kind of going through those rebellious teenage years.
Yeah. Well, my rebellious years started young. Because I got locked up when I was 17, and that's when my actual, I had to grow up. I was in maximum security prison at 17 years old. So, you
either
grow up quick.
Yeah.
So, after that, his and my relationship, we got pretty close, which I don't know, you could view it as a good or a bad thing. Having had that happen to make that happen, I guess is a good thing, but there could have been another way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
learning through fire is not always the best way, but it is.
A way.
Yeah, and it's a way to learn fast.
Yeah, but my teenage years, I was a hellion towards him. Oh, him and my mom actually. I didn't want to hear anything. I just want to do my way. It's kind of the way I am now too. Like it's either my way or I don't do it. But I'm 43 years old now, so I can do that.
So then how was your relationship with your mom? In those younger years, at least.
Good. More so than my dad. She babied the fuck out of me because I was her only kid at the time. My brother didn't come into the picture till I was 12. So those first 12 years, I was I'm still her baby, obviously, the first kid or whatever. So, but her and my relationship, I mean, it's good. I don't like the fact that I don't know, she won't talk about my real dad, but what can you do? If she don't want to talk about it, she don't want to talk about it. It's a sore subject. I ain't gonna force her to do the shit,
Yeah, I mean, especially when what happened with him, that's obviously very hard for her. Suicide obviously ends up being almost a taboo subject to talk about.
It really is, which it shouldn't be because you don't want people doing it, so you should talk about it more often, right?
Yeah. And there's this lyric in a song, it might be a Macklemore song, where he's like, your memory lives your memory lives on as long as somebody's still saying your name and talking about you, right?
Yeah. If you don't talk about it, it's not there anymore.
Yeah. So your mom, did she play less of that disciplinarian role while your stepdad did? You rebelled against him real hard because he wanted to be a disciplinarian with you, but was your mom not as much of a disciplinarian, and she wanted to baby you, he wanted to try to, be a real father figure and not force you into anything, but be.
I think he acquired that role more than she did. She would try, but I probably wouldn't listen, and then he would step in hey, you got to do this, and I'm just like, who the fuck are you? Because we didn't live together until I was 7 or 8. So I lived with one of my uncles, and my other uncle would pop in and out. My mom and my grandma, all in a 2-bedroom little apartment or whatever. And so my uncle really watched me most of the time, or my grandma, or I was just getting pawned off on whoever, mom's working or grandma's working, my uncle's working. So it was just like a juggling situation. I don't remember Andy, my stepdad, actually watching me too often then. Probably why I was so rebellious towards him, because he'd just come around and tell me what to do. And like, I ain't trying to hear this shit.
So did you kind of have that with your uncles as well? Like they would try to tell you what to do?
No, because they were always there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they lived there. So I'm like, well, you're kind of like the man of the house. And plus I looked up to one of them. The other one was just an abusive fucking asshole. But it is what it is.
Do you feel like there's anything in your younger years that then kind of forced you more into like the rebellious side? Not just being rebellious against your stepdad, but
just in general?
Yeah. Like do you feel like there was like angst that built up from something specifically or more generally?
Well, my uncle's kicking the shit out of me. That probably didn't fucking help.
Okay.
I went through a pretty good amount of abuse.
Like back then, what like is this abuse that you would say like back then you looked at it as normal, and like looking back now you're like, fuck, they kind of just ragged on me?
That part.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. For no reason. Just getting smacked upside the head or thrown against the wall and hit. It's just, I don't know, whatever they're going on in their fucking life. Not so much my Uncle Ray. My Uncle Ray was really nice. It was my Uncle Jim. He was a piece of shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
he got fucked up pretty bad. He's got I'm not going to get into the details of why it happened. But he has a broken back, right? And he's been walking with a limp and fucked up and on pain pills his whole entire life now. Well, the last 25, 30 years of his life. You know what I'm saying? So he crossed somebody that he probably shouldn't have crossed, and he got what was coming to him. You could say karma. He was a pretty good teacher.
Yeah, karma always gets us in the end, some way or another.
Yeah.
So then, kind of in your later teenage years, you can speak about it as much as you want. Like, what happened to get you to the point that you got enough trouble that you got locked up at 17?
I was in and out of detention centers and group homes. I went to school and was part of the group home on. It used to be on North Avenue where St. Mary's is now. They demolished it. It was called St. Emilian's Lakeside. It was a school for boys.
Okay.
And now I don't think it's a school for boys. I think it's just like a halfway house thing. It's on like, I want to say 92nd and Capitol. It's fucking huge. It's a big place. It's still called St. A's. I see it every time I drive by it. But when I was young, I was 13 when I first went to jail. I was breaking and entering, burglarizing, robberies. And I got caught or whatever and went to jail. They didn't do nothing but give me probation. I was 13 years old. A couple more of those things, more destruction of properties and burglaries and just breaking into places. Just seeing what I could get into, you know what I'm saying? And breaking shit, I had a lot of anger in me, so I just expressed it however I could. Even with sports, like I was always in sports, so I was pretty athletic. So I would, like with hockey or football or soccer, like I chose sports that I could hit things, be aggressive. So, and I just didn't really turn that off when I got done with the game or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, out of school, I was getting into fights and stuff like that. Just had an attitude, I guess you could say. And I couldn't really tell. Probably a lot had to do with like my upbringing, obviously, with the abuse and.
Would you say there was any influence from like any kids? So, what kind of got you started into like at 13, breaking and entering and stuff like that? Was there an influence from somebody else that kind of got you down that route? Or like this was another way for you to take out your anger?
No, I don't think there was influenced by like somebody saying, hey, let's go do this.
Yeah, like whether it's like
Not
older
like that
kids
at
or like
all.
a group of kids
No.
you kind of know. Okay.
No, nothing like that. More of an influence of self-worth.
Okay.
I grew up in a trailer home. We didn't have money, and being in Ozaki County, everyone around you, like they got this pretty wealthy area, you know what I'm saying? So you look at some of the kids around you and you're just like, well, you got a dad, you got this, I don't have none of this shit, you know what I'm saying? Even like the Nintendo game systems, like I didn't get that. Like everyone around me had that shit. So you just build up like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. My family ain't shit type mentality. Like if I don't do something about it, I'll never have shit like this. So you steal things, break into places, see what you get into. You know what I'm saying? There's more self-worth than it was people pushing me like, hey, go do that. I was never really a send-off. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to say I'm a loner. I have a lot of people that I associate with, and I have a lot of really good friends. But I've created a network around myself. And I guess you could say that I did that when I was younger, subconsciously. But I tend to, like, I don't really reach out to people like, hey, you want to go do this? You want to go do that? Unless someone reaches out to me first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess you could say I'm a loner or a real recluse a little bit. I'll sit in my house all fucking day long and watch movies if I can, or drive around by myself. Like I have a lot of old school cars, and I'll just hop in them by myself. I won't even hit no one up. Like, yeah, I'm in traffic. I'll just go up by myself. Like I don't need somebody there with me like a lot of people do. And technically I don't even want people around me. I'm not I like being by myself. You know what I'm saying? So back then I was very much that person as well. But I didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure that the anger would be more expressed by myself than it would be somebody else. You know, I'm not, because if I show that to somebody else and I, see who I really am type shit, like, oh, I don't want to be around that guy. He's fucking crazy. Until like later on in my life, like now I just don't care who thinks what. Obviously, we've been friends for a long time now. So
Yeah.
you know that part of me.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of power in being okay with being by yourself.
Yeah.
And there can be like a little loner part to it, but at the end of the day, I mean,
I only use that word because I didn't know like what kind of word I could use. I mean, loner. I mean, yeah, I'm not alone. I don't feel lonely. You know what I'm saying? So but like I'm alone in the sense of nobody is around me.
Yeah. Well, I think some people have a very hard time, being in a room by themselves and not having some kind of like social interaction, not having somebody else kind of fill the void.
Yeah.
Where it's good to like learn how to fill that void yourself. I mean, I'm sure that skill came in handy a lot when you're locked up because you have to spend so much isolated time.
Yeah.
So for you with sports, like at what age did you start getting into sports?
I was young, probably like 4. My mom put me into soccer or something like that. One of those. I think it was soccer. Yeah, it had to be soccer because I didn't get into hockey till I was 7, and that's when because my stepdad's family, his nephews played hockey, so they're just looking for things that like keep me busy that wasn't like video game type related or other shit. Like, and once they seen I was pretty good at soccer, they're like, oh, put him in this sport, put him in this sport. And we didn't have really the money to do it at the time, so my uncles gave us all the old gear from my cousins. Technically they're my cousins. My dad's nephews are my cousins. So I got all their hand-me-down shit, and I loved the game. I love hockey. It's my favorite sport. I still watch the shit today. Like, I want to go to more games. But with that said, I like they put me on the ice and I fell in love with it and I just went with it. So.
Until what age did you play?
I got locked up when I was 17.
Okay, so you're still very active in it until that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always came back to that. That was like the safe space.
And I know I know you've mentioned before you're pretty good and had a potential future in it.
Yeah.
If it had not been derailed by being locked up and have an opportunity to possibly go further with it.
Yeah.
So was that hard for you to have to be pulled away from that at the time?
I was locked up. So it was kind of like I couldn't do nothing about it anyway.
Yeah.
But when I got out, like obviously my scholarships were gone and all that shit because I had scouts looking at me and blah blah blah, piles of fucking mail, like when you used to get mail. Like my whole parents' table would be filled with like letters from schools, you know, like around the fucking country, even Canada. Like, oh, we want your son to come play here. Come check out our school, you know, type shit. So yeah, it was a hard pill to swallow once I realized the gravity of what I fucking did. I'm like, well, fuck, now I'm screwed. I mean, I could go to a community college or something like that, but the education's gone. The financial future of playing the game that I love is gone. And I kind of got a distaste in my mouth over the whole situation, so I never even went back to playing the game.
Okay.
Like, I'll lace up my skates and I'll go skate on the oval. But that's about as far. Oh, I'll go on like Red Arrow Park or an outside pond or something like that, just because it's fun, you know. But I don't pick up a stick anymore. Yeah, I have people in the bar leagues. They're like, "Oh, grab a stick, get back out on the ice." I'm like, "Oh, I'm good, man." And plus, I'm so big now, like, I'm not very mobile anymore. When I was playing hockey, I was 150 pounds. Like, I'm trying to get to 250 right now.
When like in hindsight, do you like look back and see like do you remember like what's the reason that you had this thing that you were very good at, you had potential for in the future? Do you think that like was there any specific reasons that you didn't kind of just focus on that only and kind of just look at that? Was it just that you were kind of
self-worth?
Again, it goes back to self-worth. Okay.
Because, like I said, being in the area I was at the time, everyone had money. You know, we had no fucking money. I'm still living in a trailer home with my parents. You know what I'm saying? So like, I resorted to selling drugs or robbing people or this and that. You know, it's just it all comes back to self-worth for me. How I felt about myself, who I was, and I guess like as my therapist said, me trying to figure out who I am as a, you know, it all comes from that. I mean, in the end, right? So, and obviously back then, you don't really realize it when you're going through it because you're so deep in it. And honestly, if I did realize it, I don't think I would have stopped doing what I was doing. Why?
You still didn't know better.
Yeah, I'm in it. You don't just stop for no reason.
So in hindsight, you now can look back and you see the self-worth part of it.
Yeah.
Back then, you probably didn't see it as much. No. So then, were you aware that like this was kind of all like related to mental health and how?
Not at all. Had no clue.
Just kinda,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I was in and out of psych wards, mental hospitals, or whatever. The schools put me in them. My parents put me in them.
You probably got tagged as a troubled youth.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I was one of the first kids to go on like Zoloft, like weird shit like that. They put me on Ambien. I was young too. I was like 10, 12.
How did that affect you?
It fucked me up. Like, it really fucked me up. My mom wishes she never did it. But you know, you got all these doctors like, oh, this is the drug to do, you know, it's the same way that they did with the fucking Percocets and the Oxycontins. Oh, this is the drug of the future. You know, they don't give a fuck about us. They just throw medication at it. Oh, this costs so much money. We can really fucking milk these people for this. Now look, the whole goddamn world thinks they're depressed and this and that. They're always going to the fucking doctors and getting Zoloft and whatever other bullshit anti-psych meds they can put us on. And how much money does it cost? You know,
it's all just to kind of get you back in line.
Yeah.
Follow the line that you're supposed to be on.
Why don't we just fix the problem with talking to the fucking people? You know what I'm saying? Like this will do more benefit than putting someone on fucking drugs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, you grew up there in the 90s, 80s where this shit was just not talked about.
No. You know, yeah, especially a man. A man isn't supposed to talk. You know, you're supposed to be fucking tough. Talk about your feelings. What are you, a pussy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't even show that you're hurt. And you get punched in the face, suck it up.
But if there's a pill they can give you and it's going to make you feel better or look like you feel better to others.
That's really what it is. Put this mask on. You look good now.
Yeah, that's another great way of putting it. It's just a mask. It's
really
a mask
is,
to mask the things that you're going through that you're not dealing with or feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been in Charter Hospital, Northbrook Hospital, St. Michael's, probably another one in there somewhere, and like for like weeks at a time. You know what I'm saying? I've been put in the fucking padded room before because I didn't want to take my medication. You know, they fucking hold you down and force you to take it.
And I'm sure that's like, for you being somebody who...
And being a child, that's pretty fucking traumatizing.
And you despise authority and you have people literally forcing you to do something, which I'm sure just made you like kick that much further back against authority. And as soon as then you're like, you probably want to escape authority so badly, I'm sure,
for
at
sure,
that time.
yeah.
So 17-year-old Shaun gets the sentence that he's going to prison. Do you remember what that was like? What that feeling? What like that?
It was kind of relief.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what was going on. In the moment, it was relief. Like, oh, fuck, now I can start my next journey, I guess you could say. Everything up to it was anxiety-ridden and fucking, like, my mind was a catastrophe. I was 17 years old and I was facing 110 years in prison.
Wow.
Luckily, I had 3 delivery of controlled substances while I was on bail for an armed robbery. So that carried another 3 bail jumping charges. And then it was like recklessly endangering safety and holding someone without their will or whatever. I don't even know what the fuck the charge is, whatever. But that was a case with my brother, and he beat the polygraph test. So we beat the case. Thank God.
Otherwise, that sentence would have been longer.
That sentence alone carried like 50 some years.
Wow.
Yeah. The armed robbery alone was like 40 years, and then like the recklessly endangering safety and blah blah blah. So we involved it was with a gun. And we did that. Yeah. We didn't do that, but we got that charge. But he beat the polygraph, and all we had to do was just keep our mouth shut and just let it ride out. He beat the polygraph, dropped my case. And then my first plea bargain was 20 years. I'm like, that's not a bargain.
Wow.
The fuck you talking about 20 years? I'm like, I'm not pleading guilty. I'm like, fight this, take it to trial. And before trial, they're like, we're going to give you one last offer. And that was the week that my brother beat the polygraph. We're going to give you one last offer. They offered me probation for it. I was like, I'm not even taking that. So they just dropped it. I'm like, yeah, I just wrote it out. Won that case, I guess you could say. But then they hit me on the other shit because I beat that case. Well, they knew I did it. You know. Yeah.
So how long were you locked up for then?
That time was only 2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah, because I went to boot camp and I got out early for boot camp.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I was still on probation though.
How was that experience? Because like obviously now you go from being somebody who already had issues with authority, already had issues with not wanting to be told what to do, wanting to be independent. Now you're like, you feel like you probably don't have much control during that time.
You have zero control.
Yeah, you're being told where to do, where to go, what to wear, what to eat. Was that like a very hard transition, or did you kind of just accept it because there was no other choice, period?
I can accept things pretty quickly and just move on and be like, well, this is life now. You know, just how you maneuver and how you deal with it. But that comes back to like being a man and being strong and not showing emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like in those situations, that part of me kicks in and it's good. I'm straight. Which helps, you know, when you're put into that position, like you're locked down 23 hours a day, you get out for a shower and to eat, and that's fucking it. And you only get to shower every third day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So you're in the cell, you don't get to do shit.
Yeah.
Like after you get out of the county jail and you go to Dodge, it's 23-1 until you get staffed and you go to the whatever joint that they select for you. You know what I'm saying? And even then, if you have a crime that considers you maximum security, you're 23-1 again. So you're just locked up. The whole fucking, it's like you get a TV and all that shit once you get to your destination. But when you're in Dodge, it's like being in the hole. Like there's nothing there. You got a celly and that's it. You can order a deck of cards, but you get no TV, no fucking radio, none of that shit. So it might be different now because everything's through an iPad, like emails instead of letters. Visits are through TVs. But back then it was different. Back in the 90s and early 2000s.
So obviously, like we kind of talked about a little earlier, how like you're fine being isolated. You're fine being by yourself. So I'm sure that skill came in handy.
Yes.
During that time for you, where
100%.
It's not all of a sudden you went from I'm a social person, I'm an extrovert, and now I have to be an introvert by myself here. So did that time change you? Do you feel like there was any like significant change mentally for you during that? Like, I'm sure you probably went through some level of growing up and maturing because.
Yeah, well, I was so young.
Yeah.
You know? That time, I don't think so. Because that time I only spent 3 months at Dodge. Then I went to Jackson for like a week. And then from Jackson, I went straight to Bootcamp. I was at Bootcamp for 10 and a half months. That shit changed me. That taught me a lot. But as in like the prison teaching me anything, that didn't teach me shit.
Okay.
It's easy. Like literally it's a cakewalk. They don't want to hear you say that, but it is. You know, you get a TV, you get a radio, you can write letters all day long, talk on the phone all day long. You go to rec all day long, play cards, do whatever the fuck you want. You got free food. Dude, it's a cake. You got nothing to worry about. What do you got to worry about? Playing cards, calling someone and talking to them. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, you're not like, what are you missing out here? The freedom to walk around or buy stuff? Like, you know, yeah, you don't get pussy in there, but it's about the only thing.
yeah. Like otherwise you have enough little freedoms that while you're, you know.
And that's the thing you have to tell yourself while you're in there too. Like, this is fine. I can do this. You know what I'm saying? You know, because if you think anything else, like, it's going to suck. You just make the best of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in reality, it's just, you even say it when you're in there, the hole ain't nothing but a different part of the jail. Well, the jail ain't nothing but a different part of the world.
Yeah.
You're still living in it. So.
And you've kind of already had this survival instinct in you that like, just move forward, put the next step, put the next foot in front of the other.
Yeah. It's just something you have to tell yourself, because if you don't, you're going to go crazy. You don't want to be that guy.
Do you feel like during that period you did any reflecting on the years prior?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was coming off of drugs too, because I did a lot of drugs in my youth. So getting out of that haze and actually realizing the gravity of what my life has become, even though I went right back to it afterwards. It was kind of a realization, and it sucked. I think the most part that sucked about it was just like, for me, if it was just me that had to deal with my consequences, it's whatever. But my actions hurt my family. So that seeing them hurt sucks. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I don't care. Like, what the fuck do I care for? You know, like I said, it's just another part of the world. But I didn't like hurting them. I threw my future away, but I can create a new one. So it's a survival thing. Like, I could, you know, it's just whatever mentality. I feel like you can change and manifest things through your mentality. You know, if I want to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
You know, type shit. You know, this is going to happen no matter what I do. I played hockey, or if I own a few businesses like I do now, or whatever the fuck I got to do, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know.
So what were the years following that then? So you were probably young 20s, like 19 you got out?
Yeah, I got out right before I was turning 20. I went in right when I turned 17. So it was like about 2 years I was in, and I got out. I graduated from Bootcamp, which is a 6-month program. I was 10 and a half months there.
What is Bootcamp?
It's called CIP. I forget what the CIP for Bootcamp stands for. But there's CIP in the prison system, which is a program, and then there's CIP for boot camp. The CIP for the prison system is called cognitive intervention program.
Okay.
For boot camp, it's criminal something something program, but it's CIP. But after that, you ask after that or during that?
After that, but
yeah, I was there for 2 years. I was in the boot camp for 10 and a half months, and I graduated. And
so is that like actual like classes and?
Oh yeah,
like you're learning education, like you're.
Well, the moment you get there, they treat you like you're going into the military. You have real sergeants from that retired from the military, like the Marines, Army, Navy SEALs, Special Forces guys. That they treat you and train you like you're in the military. It's the moment you get there, it's basic training.
Huh.
From the first week, it's basic training. Shave your head. They teach you how to fucking march. They teach you how to stand at whatever it is. I don't even know any of it anymore. It's 20 years ago. Yeah. But all the I learned how to fold the flag properly, carry the flag, march with the flag, call cadence, shit like that. They teach you all of that because if you break any of that, your ass is grass. You're doing PT till you puke. So they treat everything, and everything is military and discipline based. I loved it, honestly. It was fucking for me it took all worry and thought process out of my fucking day. You were just you were a machine every fucking day.
Structure and routine.
Yes, it's the same. You woke up. You went to they call it the head. Go to the head, brush your teeth, get in your fucking gear, stand at the edge of your rack, and get told what to do. When you're ready, go. Go here, go there. Go. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to think. You just go through the motions. It was the easiest time. And time fly by. Like, that 10 and a half months was gone. Like, oh shit, it was done. It's way better than sitting in the joint.
I can definitely see that. Structure and routine, I think, is like innately needed by our brains.
Yes.
Men especially. I think we really desire structure and routine. Yeah. It's why we end up we like sports. We like having coaches and we have practice. And you do this the same every time. And when you go to game day, you're going to do it the exact same as, it's structure and routine. There's something to be said about it.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, I do think a lot of people out there almost need some hard, they need somebody to be yelling at them to do it.
Yeah.
Some people can kind of develop that discipline over time themselves, but a lot of times situations have to happen for us to realize, oh man, the older you get, the more you realize how much structure and routine feeds into a healthy brain.
Yeah.
Okay, so then past that time, what kind of happened with life after that?
I got out. I tried to actually join the military.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm like, well, fuck, I just got out of boot camp. That shit was awesome. I'm like, I can do this. I could just slide right in and, and I'm going to do well. And but they wouldn't take me because of all my felonies. They're like, well, if you get a couple of them expunged, he's like, we'll allow you in with 2 felonies. Other than that, I had 7. He's like, you got
5 too many.
Yeah. And I had a buddy that was a lieutenant try to get me in too, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to work. I'm like, all right, that's fine. So what did I do? I tried to play hockey a little bit, I think. Yeah, I did. Old man's league. I skated a couple times, but it wasn't the same, so I just gave up on it. I did a lot of went to the YMCA. I talked to a few schools. Kind of did community work. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, I was working at a factory, just to get money. You know what I'm saying? And my buddy got me a really good job. So back then, I was nowadays it's nothing, but back then I was getting $12.50 an hour. And 25 years ago, that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
That's $25 an hour right now, $25.30, and that was starting, So I was like, oh yeah, I got a good job, I'm good. And full benefits and all that shit, Got my license and blah, 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 because I didn't have that back then. Got all my shit together, basically. And obviously, it just wasn't good enough, so I just fell back into my same routine. Got back into drugs and drinking. I actually got into the drinking because I never used to drink, but I was like, oh, I'm not going to do drugs anymore. So I just started drinking, you know, and one thing leads to another, and you just start doing all the other bullshit again. So kind of just spiraled from there for a few years.
Would you say, like, were the drugs and the drinking, like, were they a form of escape for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. From when I was younger, probably it's like the self-worth thing again, you know, just it made you feel better. You know?
Yeah.
Snort a line of cocaine, you feel great, you know?
Yeah. Feel on top of the world.
Exactly, you know. Eat some mushrooms, you're completely escaped reality. This is awesome. I got to deal with nothing for the next 6 hours. I did smoke weed, but I don't even smoke weed now. I could, I just don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I get paranoid and lethargic and I don't get shit done. So I didn't even smoke weed back then. But I like stimulants, so I got heavily into cocaine, drinking and cocaine. And at that time, like, I only worked at the foundry, or not the foundry, the, whatever that is, the factory for a little bit. Then I went to roofing. And construction guys, they love to drink and they love to do drugs. So it probably wasn't the best option for me, but I was making $20 an hour. You know, like I said back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know? So I was doing that, and I had a company vehicle, company cell phone. I was what do you call it, a foreman. So, like, I thought life was pretty good at the time, you know. But I always had that chip on my shoulder, so I wasn't playing sports anymore or in the gym at all. So I always always getting into fights, always fighting. Yeah, so that's what brought me back to prison again. It was the fighting.
So prior to that point, it's like you were still kind of, were you starting to become more aware, like the self-worth part of it? Of like,
No,
okay.
I was doing too many drugs.
Okay.
Like every day I'd be snorting cocaine and drinking. Like every day I would drink and do coke because that just came with like just being in construction, kind of. Like it was like the whole fucking thing was just like, you know.
Is it kind of like that, like work hard, play hard?
Yeah, you know, this was like the early 2000s, like 2001. You know, where I don't know, I just didn't really care about much. Just get high, get drunk, go to work, you know, whatever.
Was that kind of like
a routine? It was just like the routine of being a fucking in construction. Like any construction site I went on, it was just a bunch of guys just, oh, I'm gonna go get to the bar tonight and get fucked up, maybe snort some lines, bang some hoes. It's what it was, you know.
So was that kind of like because you were kind of like got into the club scene a little bit at that time too?
Yeah, I was going to the clubs. Yeah, a little bit. More so after I got out of prison this last time.
Okay.
Yeah, that back then I would go every now and then, but it just wasn't my scene. I didn't like the people that much that went to the clubs. I like more of like a bar scene, you know, somewhere I could play pool or sit on a bar stool, talk shit. You know, the clubs were, I mean, they were fun, but it was just too designery for me at the time. Even though I dressed really nice, I didn't like the people. The people just pissed me off. Like, they're all fake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you guys are whack. I don't want to be around you.
So how old were you when you got locked up the second time?
26.
26, okay. Yeah. Now, did you feel like were the years leading up to that, like, you know, things, you were a little bit better getting out of prison when you were 19, turning 20.
Yeah.
You kind of fell right back in like old habits eventually. Did things kind of like over time progress and get worse till you got to the point where you were, you know, you had an incident happen and you got locked up at 26?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just like this.
Okay.
They didn't really get worse or get better. It was good at first, and then it got bad to where it was just that bad consistently. There wasn't worse or lower. Like there was no. It was just for like 3-4 years. It was just the same fucking routine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get into a fight here and there. Do drugs all day and night. Fucking drink all day and night. Whatever. Just unhealthy behavior. That's when I got into the bar fight or whatever. And I was still on probation. So I was obviously just, my PO was smooth, never piss test me or nothing. Like because I was doing so good on paper, like, oh, you got this job, you're doing this, you got your own place, this and that. You know what I'm saying? They look at that. They don't, I passed a bunch of piss tests anyway. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll see you every 3 months you'll come here, and every 3 months after that I'll come to your house. So like I didn't see him often. They gave me enough rope to hang myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Had he drug tested me, I probably would have been in and out, But he never drug tested me, so I'm just smooth sailing, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I had 2 years left of probation before I caught the next case, and I was actually they were going to cut my shit short. Like, oh yeah, we're good, And then I caught the case. But it was just kind of like a blur for 3 years, honestly. It was the same bullshit every fucking day.
You felt like you're kind of stuck in a cycle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a cycle of addiction.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
So now, if I remember correctly, I think it was a bar fight that you got into.
Yeah.
That ultimately, that's where you got arrested, and then that's what got you locked back up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, I was always getting into the bar fights. So I didn't really think nothing of it. But this one dude, I beat the shit out of him like months earlier to this. Well, he was having a party at this local bar that I always went to, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm not letting him, like, I'm still going to my bar. The fuck you talking about? This is my spot, not yours. You know what I'm saying? And so I went there, and he threw a beer in my girl's face. Yeah, and she comes up to me. That motherfucker, this and that.
Oh.
So him and 3 of his guys like walk towards me. So I grab a bottle, I smash him in his face with it, drop him, and I beat the shit out of his other 2 boys. And had I not hit him with the bottle, I went to jail because they were approaching me. But in Wisconsin, we have a same force law, not a self-defense law.
Okay.
Like, so I can only use the same force that they're using against me. So if I would have like punched him, we would have gotten into a fight. It would have been fine. But I used the bottle, so now it's substantial battery. It's a felony. Yeah, because I used a weapon. Because they didn't have a weapon. So like if they were coming at me with a bottle, or if any type of weapon or something that we're going to use as a weapon, then we were on even playing field. Then it's kind of like a wash.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? But it wasn't that way. So. And I was on probation, and from my case back then, I had 27 years withheld. So that was for the 3 deliveries, or whatever it was, and some bail jumpings and blah, blah, blah. And they gave me 3, 3, and 3, plus 1 year for the battery. Just ran it all together, so it was 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you worried that they were going to lock you up for longer?
Yeah, it should have been like 10.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had a really good fucking lawyer that finessed the shit out of it. So.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, with the history too, I'm sure it didn't help. A judge was going to be inclined to want to go harsher on you.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was that 4-year stint compared to the first? Now that you're older.
It was a little bit more harder to swallow, because I couldn't go to boot camp. They had no early release program at the time for me because I had a violent case. So I had to do the whole bid, which because I was under old law, the 4 years I only did 3 off the 4, because I got the old law. I got to see the parole board, so I got a year knocked off because I didn't get any tickets or any trouble while I was inside. So I did those, then I got paroled off of that. So I did 2 out of those 3 years, and then I had the other extra year to do for the battery. Under the new law, you got to do day for day for that. There's no beating that. But so that was a straight 3 years. That sucked because of like the last year, little bit less, probably like 300 or so days. I did in the hole.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, because I was on work release, so I got to the point where I finished my program. I got to work release, and I was bringing back tobacco. I had a cell phone, creatine because I was working out, shit like that. And like porn mags, because you have porn mags in there. So I was selling tobacco, porn, fucking creatine, shit like that, you know. Like a fucking cigarette you get $2 for.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd buy, you know, a pound of tobacco and just sell the whole pound. I'd buy the pound of tobacco for like $10, sell the whole pound for $40 cash. You know what I'm saying? So, shit like that. So I got caught with all that coming back, and they gave me 8/360. It's 8 days adjustment segregation where you don't get nothing. And then after those 8 days, you start your 360, which is, you get to go out for rec 1 hour a day, which they didn't let you out. And then you can order canteen. You can order a deck of cards, a pad of paper, and a pencil, and envelopes and hygiene shit.
Otherwise, you're in a cell by yourself all day.
You don't get
every
out.
day.
You don't get out.
Man.
I luckily have like psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, so I got out every day for a shower.
Okay.
That was the only time I got out. Otherwise, you only get a shower once every third day.
But you didn't really get any social interaction at all then?
Not really, no. Sometimes you get a celly.
Okay.
If they're over like populated, like if someone gets in trouble, they'll put you in there until they find somewhere else to put them. Other than that, no, you in there the whole time. You don't get no TV, no nothing, no radios, no nothing. And if you yell out the chuck hole to talk to somebody else, they yell at you and they might add more days to your time, type shit. Yeah.
So how was the reflection for you at that point?
That shit sucks.
Yeah. I mean, that's
the first month sucked. After that, you just deal with it. Like the first couple weeks to a month, it's like, fuck, this is whack. I don't like this shit at all. But after a while, it's just routine. You just fall into it. Like, all right, I'm good. I wake up, maybe. I'll just lay here. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I'm not doing anything anyway.
So how did you learn to like make that time pass?
I don't know, honestly.
Because I mean, that's, you know, especially in our day and age now where like so many people can't even imagine going 2 hours without picking up their phone or an hour without picking up their phone without some kind of like constant stimulation. But like the thought of sitting.
You just talk to yourself.
But for how long and how many days in a row do you talk to yourself for? I don't know what the hell do you say to yourself?
Time.
Yeah. So like with talking to yourself, do you feel like that would be like positive talk at that point? Or was that very negative talk? Was that just
anything?
Yeah.
You get a book. Usually you read.
Okay.
Yeah. You can, like they come around with a cart on, like you see in the movies, like the cart with the books.
Yeah.
So they come around with the fucking cart with the books.
So you get to
like, what do you got
something
on the cart today, boss? Doesn't look like nothing good. Like, all right, give me whatever. You just read anything at that point. It's like pages missing. It doesn't fucking matter.
Just something for your brain.
Something so you don't go stir crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you said you were kind of starting to work out during this bid, like you did a lot more.
Oh yeah, I was in the gym the whole time.
Okay.
So yeah, like when I was in the whole, like I would do push-ups and dips off the bench, or off the bed or whatever. You're allowed up to 6 books. So I'd take the 6 books, my pillow and everything, and I put it into a pillowcase and I'd curl it, shit like that. All my hygiene, anything I could get some weight into there. I'd roll out my bed and try to curl it, like roll it up into a fucking ball so I could curl the bed too. Like, yeah, you get pretty innovative.
Yeah, anything to get some resistance.
Yeah. So other than like different push-ups and shit like that, so, you know, you work out for you don't have a clock or anything, so you don't even know what fucking time it is. So you just work out until you're just like, I'm done with this. And for me, I could take a daily shower. So when I get done my workout, I just tap on the door, like, I want my shower now, you know, and then they'll figure out how to get me the shower within the next hour.
Were you working out before you got locked up that time?
No.
No. So
Not at all.
that is kind of what started getting you into
That was, yeah. So in 2006, when I got locked up in the county jail, I started working out then. And then when I got to the joint, like I already knew, I've been to the joint before, so I just fell into a fucking lifting routine. Like there's no free weights or nothing like that. It's all like Nautilus machines and shit like that.
Okay.
So you just fall right in with the biggest group of guys, try to hang.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I did. Not everyone did that. I just look for the biggest dudes. Like, hey, can I jump in? You know, and then hop in until you get staffed to a joint. Then you get staffed to a unit. Like I was on Unit 6 in Fox Lake. That was a unit I was on for most of my time, and I just looked for the biggest dudes on the unit. Like, hey, can I work out with you guys? And it's, you know, I worked out with 4 of the biggest black dudes in the whole fucking joint. Here I am, 180 pound white dude. You know what I'm saying? They're like, you're fucking crazy. So I kept going every fucking day. And after like 6 months, Kane, he had a life bed. He looked at me. He's like, you know, we tried to kill you, right, Shaun? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, in the gym, we wanted you to tap, but you just kept coming back for it. Like that day cause I went there, I did legs with him one day. I never did legs before. The next day I couldn't walk. Like at all. Like, you know how it is. Like,
yeah, oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh shit. Like you're holding onto the walls. And I was on a top bunk. So I had to crawl off the top bunk. And they were like, he was like, that day that you couldn't walk to the gym and you still made it. He's like, we knew you were a tough motherfucker.
Because I mean, at that point, that's probably like one of the only ways you can get some kind of like release.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know? Yeah.
And the rec area is really not. I mean, they're outside. They got a fucking mile-long track, baseball, softball, football, like basketball, everything. You name it, they got it there. You know what I'm saying? They got a basketball court inside where I would watch the basketball. They'd have tournaments and shit like that. And then they had the weight room. Like it was cool. It's way better than any gym in a high school. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. So was it like 2010 you got out? 2000.
Yeah, 2009.
2009. Okay.
Yeah,
and you're 29 then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was 29.
So then, what got you into powerlifting?
I just kept with going to the gym, and actually Heath Hill, remember him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He got me into powerlifting.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just going to when I got out, I was going to and I had no money. Well, I had money, but not enough, you know. And I didn't want to hop back into selling drugs and shit like that. So, my best friend in the world is his name's Mark. I call him my brother. So he was living in I'm off Brown Deer Road, like right behind where the Walmart used to be. And the condos back there. He had bought a condo back there. And I moved in with him, and I went to the Anytime Fitness on Brown Deer Road, and I'm like, is there any way that I could, like, because I didn't have no money. I'm like, is there a way that I could get a free membership? Like, and she's like, no. I'm like, what if I cleaned the bathrooms and did the vacuuming and blah, blah, this and that? And she's like, let me talk to the owners. So he got me a free membership. All I had to do was clean the fucking gym twice a week.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's how I got my membership at the gym. I didn't have a job at the time. I was working, doing the roofing shit still, construction type shit. I went back to the same guy that I was working for prior, but he was having kidney failure. So I didn't even get paid for the first couple. Like, he'd pay me here and there. And then, like, he owed me like $5 or $6 grand, and he didn't have no money. So I took all of his equipment, and I started up my own. That's how I started my own business too.
Okay, because I thought at one point I knew that you did roofing with your own business and had your own employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how that started. I'm
okay.
Like, well, if he like eventually he had kidney failure and he died. But I took I had a van, all fucking 5 or 6 guns, ladders, racks, all this shit. I took everything I needed, 2 compressors, like everything I needed to start a fucking roofing business, I took from him. because he didn't have money to pay me. I'm like, well, I gotta make money some fucking how.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so I took that. I didn't have no money, so now I had to go and Craigslist, eBay, looking for people, like anyone to hire me. I got my own shit now, so like all you got to really do is subcontract to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So one of his buddies reached out to me like, "Oh, you got all of Sir Watt's old shit?" He's like, I'll subcontract to you. I'm like, thank fucking Christ. So now I'm starting to make a lot of money now because he's giving me jobs and at the cost that he was giving him, but he used to charge, he's only paid me $30 an hour. You know, now I'm making $100 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And
doing most of the work yourself at that point?
At the beginning, but then I found some older clients older employees that used to work for him reached out to, they found me. So, I've seen them at fucking Walmart. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? I was like, you looking for work? They're like, yeah, we need work. I'm like, fuck yeah, here's my number. Call me. I got a job coming up. So I had like 7 or 8 employees at the time, you know.
So it really built up.
Yeah, it went quick, yeah. But keeping that shit, like, because like that was during the Obama years. So like, it's kind of like how it is now. You know what I'm saying? It was hard to make money. You know? At first it was really great, but now it's just like, fuck, it was hard to find the jobs. And then the jobs that you would find would be somebody subcontracting to you for nothing because somebody else over here will undercut you to get the job. So you got to take what you can get. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the trucking industry right now. The trucking industry right now is fucked. Like everyone's undercutting each other, trying to get it for the cheapest bucks, so nobody's making any fucking money. But they have to do it just to keep fucking food on the table.
Yeah,
and that's how
it's just survival.
Exactly, that's how the construction shit was. You know, I'm sure that's how it is now too, especially with prices of material.
Yeah,
you know, so that only lasted for so long, and but to your point, like. During that, I was always going to the gym. So I'd work all day long. I'd get done maybe 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. But Anytime Fitness, I could just go in any time, you know? So once the work started slowing up, I started going to LA Fitness because they had a time where you could go and not. It was a nicer gym. So I started going there. And then I started going to fucking Animal House. And that's when I met Heath. And that's when even when I was but I was still going to fucking Anytime Fitness because they gave me a job as a trainer at some point through all this. I got the certificate through like ACE or something. I don't know, it was like a couple $100.
Yeah.
You know,
you can make money training people.
Yeah. I was like, well, this is a lot easier than like with everything going on, like losing jobs here and there, like you got to supplement somehow, you know? So yeah, just started doing that. That's really when I got into like the coaching and the training. Heath taught me how to power lift. I don't even know how that happened either. He just hit me up I hit him up. I was like, hey, I want to bench 405, dude. I was like, can you help me do that? He's like, why aren't you doing it already? I'm like, I don't know, man. I just haven't done it, but I want to. So that's really what got me into it. And because I was just I was all show muscles at the time. He's like, well, if you want to get strong, you have to lose the fucking abs. I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, I like my abs. He was like, yeah, they don't mean you're strong though. I'm like, all right. I was like, well, how do I do that? He's like, just eat worse. I'm like, that's kind of conducive to working out though, right? He's like, depends on what kind of working out you're talking about. I'm like,
depends what your goals are.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to get strong?
Yeah.
Eat high calorie dense foods. Yeah.
So I'm like, holy fuck! So I can eat like shit and still work out. I'm with this. So that was kind of like the turn on of powerlifting. I'm like, okay, I'll jump into this. This sounds fun.
So like, do you know like what year you started coming to Animal House?
2013 maybe.
That would line up with when I met you for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I met you in 2013. It was like towards the end of my college years. I was coming out to Animal House.
Yeah, you're still in college. I remember that.
Yeah, actually, I remember the first fucking time I can't even say I met you, just saw you in person. I was in the locker room at Animal House getting ready for like a squat day. And, I used to think I was a pretty like not that I thought I was like a tough guy, but like I always like I was big, I was strong, I
Yeah.
like felt confident enough in my strength and all that. And Animal House had a lot of just bodybuilders, a lot of like pretty boy muscle guys
Yep.
there.
Definitely.
The kind of guys like, yeah, they're big, but like they're not like intimidating.
They're show
like,
muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I'm in the locker room getting ready, and here comes in you, and you throw down your bag, you sit on the bench, and as soon as you walk to the locker room, you're just like, fuck, this guy's got a presence to him. It's like, and like I don't want to like say intimidating necessarily. Like, it's not, you weren't trying to be intimidating, but
Yeah.
you're like this is not a guy that anybody should be fucking with. Like you seemed harder, you seemed a little rougher on the edges. I remember, I think you were like you were scooping some pre-workout and you're like clearing your throat. And I was like,
days.
yeah. And I was like, all right, this guy seems a little intense. And it was probably like not too much longer after, like one day we must have been like squatting next to each other and you asked me to spot you on like a heavy squat. And then we just kept talking about powerlifting. And then that's kind of where the friendship built up. And we just, next thing you know, I start seeing it at every powerlifting meet, seeing you all over the fucking strongman competitions. You'd be there and shit like that. But
yeah, because you did strongman for a little bit too.
Yeah, a little bit of time. Yeah, because that's how I met Heath too.
Yeah,
because he would run the Summerfest Strongman.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I watched him compete there, I was like,
I want to do that.
That motherfucker's big and strong. I'm gonna go talk to him.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So 2013 is when you came to Animal House.
That was when I started going to Animal House because I was going to LA Fitness. That's where I met. I think you know him too, Anthony Gilbert.
Yeah.
That's where I met Anthony, and him and I were pretty close. And Nez was at fucking LA Fitness, Ashley, and all them. Tim Thompson. Yeah. That's where I met everyone. Actually, that's kind of like the catalyst of like there, and then going over to fucking Animal House.
Yeah. Because the thing was like 2014 was when we started the Fat Fucks for Life group.
Yeah.
we started going to the buffet.
Oh, yeah.
Clear out the Potawatomi buffet.
Oh, they don't even have the buffet no more.
They don't?
No, they shut it down after COVID shit.
Fuck, that buffet was good.
It was. Because my buddy Jason goes to Potto all the time. He's into like the parlays and the gambling on sports and shit. And I'm like, I'll come with you. I'll go to the buffet. He's like, oh, they don't even got it no more. I'm like, oh.
What a waste.
It hurt my heart.
Damn. God damn. That was a good buffet.
It really was.
Yeah.
All you could eat prime rib, crab legs. That was good.
Yeah.
But they got a cafe there now, Canal Street Cafe. They do like liquor coffee drinks. It's kind of. I went there the other day. I got Irish coffee. It was pretty fucking good.
Pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's funny. So they close the buffet, open up a little liquor cafe.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's very Vegas-y in there now too. Like before, it used to be like a hometown thing. Now they've beefed it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think because we'd gone there back before they did all those renovations and really revamped the whole place.
Yeah, the upstairs is all done now. They got a whole bar and restaurants upstairs now. It's pretty nice in there. I'm not going to gamble though.
No, I'll lose my money on shit that I want to lose it on. Yeah,
exactly.
So the construction business then was kind of the first time that you had your own business.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And would you say like, do you feel like there was a point where like your self-worth started, like you started feeling it change? You started realizing I have more self-worth than I gave myself credit for, that like I have a place in life. I have a path in life that I can put more into and that I can build on now, where like because since those years now, like you've continually built up, you've bought more businesses and built more businesses, and I've seen you just kind of expand more and more. Like I imagine, like from my point of view, it seems then based off what you said that like that self-worth has to have developed with that a little bit, or has it not? I mean,
I think it has. And I think powerlifting has a lot to do with it, like a lot. Want to say, I couldn't pinpoint the actual, like, when I started to, like, feel better about myself. I think it was more so of just letting go, just not caring, as much as not caring what people thought of me. Just being myself. I mean, like, fuck it, this is who I am. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like it, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Instead of thinking about, like, who am I? Where do I come from? what is this person going to think of me? You know, trying to hold back who I was and trying to make other people think something of me that I didn't know if I wanted them to think or not. You know, and I think the powerlifting actually helped that a lot because I could actually just be myself. There's a bunch of degenerates. I'm like, I fit in here. Like, you know, no one really, they're all just big and strong and they don't care about anything else. It's just the commonality of getting strong and whoever you are, it doesn't even fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? And I think that helped a lot with me realizing, like, fuck it, this is who I am. I'm just going to be whoever I'm just going to act exactly who I am. You know, like, I think that really just let go. Like, fuck it, this. You know, I mean, yeah, I still think like, I still like we talked about earlier about who am I? Like, where do I come from? My blood father, like that lineage. I still want to get into that, but like the self-worth part, I think kind of just went out the window when I just let go. Like, fuck it, you know, I'm just going to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. You want to stay along for the ride? Cool. If you don't, fuck off. I don't care. Like, I let go of everything. I let go of caring. I'm just like, this is me. This is what I'm doing. And it's worked.
Would you say, like, with powerlifting, I really like powerlifting, got into it a lot because there was this empowerment to this idea that, like, when I played sports in high school, it didn't matter how much I thought I was out efforting everybody and working harder. Like, if my coaches didn't think I was, you know, they don't want to start me, they didn't start me.
Yeah.
In powerlifting, there's this idea, right, that like, this is also why I wrestled. And I liked wrestling more than football at the end of the day because if I wanted to take the starting varsity spot at 171 or 189, I had to just beat that.
It's all on your work ethic.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So for you, getting into powerlifting and seeing like, hey, I want to squat more, or I want to bench more, or I want to deadlift more. I literally just need to put in more work, and I will get it eventually. You just have to put in the work. Was there like an empowerment that you felt from that as well? Like as you got into that, and like, because I mean, you kept getting so much stronger from the time I met you in 2013 and so forward. That was, you obviously is directly correlated to the time that you continued to put into the gym and lifting.
Yeah.
How would you say, like, was there an influence for you there of like feeling that and how that like poured into other parts of your life?
Yeah, I guess you could say, yeah. You do. Oh, yeah. You keep hitting PRs. You're getting bigger and stronger, and you feel better about yourself. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It did have some of the similar aspects that I felt when I was playing hockey. You know, because people recognized me for hockey. You know, I was starting captain, blah 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 blah, all this. And I was a captain. I didn't want to be captain, so I denied that. I didn't want that responsibility. Just let me play the fucking game, right? And but at freshman, I was a second best center in the nation. You know what I'm saying? So that was always a good, like, I always got gratification from sports, and during the time, like, for a long time I didn't have that, you know what I'm saying? So when I got into powerlifting, that did make me feel good, especially like you said, when you see me in the locker room, like, we just got a presence. People recognize me for that, you know what I'm saying? You get the recognition of, like, oh, that's Shaun, he's strong, you know? Yeah, it makes you feel good, you know what I'm saying? But that's not what I was doing it for. But I did realize that, like, that is positive reinforcement that makes you feel like, okay, I'm doing something right. Like, it definitely plays on your self-worth. Like, you feel better about it. I definitely felt better about myself, you know, especially when, you know, like, even with you, like, and this goes for all powerlifting, like, your PR, when you hit a PR in the gym and you're like, I never did that before, and everyone around you's like, fuck yeah, that was awesome. You know what I'm saying? No one's like, well, I did more than that. No, people focused on you and what you did, and they're happy for you and how you did it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that is probably the best thing about powerlifting. Because no matter what the weight is on the bar, if you PR, and everyone's fucking happy for you. If you did, you like, let's say you bottomed out on a squat, you should have fell over, but you powered through it and you got it. Like, holy fuck, that was impressive. That was awesome. You did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit like that. Like, there's not too many things in this world that you could, compare to that, so.
That's so true. Like when you think about that, like you've been in powerlifting gyms for long enough now too, that like it doesn't matter if you watch a guy deadlift or squat 1,000 pounds or you're watching a younger girl lifting something that's a PR, but it's a PR for her, and you just watch her struggle through it, and you knew that 6 months ago or a year ago she
went nowhere near that.
You watch her do it, and you can't help but feel like you just got so goddamn jacked up because you really do just care that like somebody else just beat their own PR. Doesn't matter what it compares to anybody else's. It's just it juices you up, and you get that same energy when others cheer you on.
Oh yeah,
that they are now happy that you hit your PR.
100%. Like Steve Brock in my gym, he flips out and screams, and he's so happy for it. Like I've never seen him get happy for any of his lifts, but let you PR, and he's jumping up and down, slapping you. He is the happiest person in the room for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's one of the special things about powerlifting. Like, and I think that's one of the reasons why I really got into it, which I'm sure it was for you too. Like, is that camaraderie? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, through the years, you see some political bullshit and people talking shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, without a doubt.
For whatever reason, like you multiply lifting, single ply lifting, you didn't hit squat depth. Oh yeah, touch and go bench. Whatever you want. People are going to talk shit eventually. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, but I think the main aspect of it is just the camaraderie of it, that feels good.
And I do pretty much very much pertaining to men's mental health, that's one thing I think you would probably agree on is like mental health for men really revolves around feeling like we're part of a group of other men and that we like suffer together.
Suffer or we have joy together.
Yeah, I mean,
we're worth something to you. I'm worth something to you. You're worth something to me.
And whether we did some hard training, we suffered through it, and now we get to reap the benefits and the joy together.
100%.
You show up to a meet and you both PR, you both hit your lifts. Like, that we almost like need that for us to feel truly like happy and like feel like a good mental presence. I think the powerlifting community, and a lot of times even just within small powerlifting gyms, like people get like that's where powerlifters really get that. Yeah, and I think it's so huge.
I seen a T-shirt the other day that said, "The gym is my psych ward." And I like that a lot because it really is.
Yeah.
Like that's our therapy.
Yeah.
If you break it down, if you don't see a therapist, none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? This is your only outlet. This is your therapy. It's definitely a great tool. It's probably one of the things that has kept me alive and not dead with a needle in my arm or fucking shot or in prison for the rest of my life. Like powerlifting definitely has, just the gym in general has probably saved me from a lot of shit.
I mean, outside of the camaraderie too, you have it puts such tangible, reachable goals that you're constantly working towards.
Yeah. You don't have to make them like I squatted 700 today and I got to squat 800 tomorrow. No. 3 weeks from now, hopefully we'll get 705 or 710.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the journey.
Yeah. Like little incremental linear progression over time. Yeah. Which is, it's interesting because I'd be curious what your opinion on this too. Like, I think in the bodybuilding community, you get so much less of that. There's less camaraderie.
I think so.
And there's much more like lone wolfness of like they're at the gym, lone wolf style, just hitting their sets, set after set. They don't have like the camaraderie that you do where like, all right, you just did your set of bench, strip the weight, like put this on for the next guy. All right, put this weight on for the next person. Like
I don't see any bodybuilding crews.
No, exactly. Yes.
Powerlifting crews are all over the place.
All over. They show up in packs to meets. And
every gym has their own crews.
Yeah. And we're like, I think bodybuilding, I think that's why you get a lot more depressed bodybuilders with mental health issues.
Oh, yeah.
And
definitely
self-worth issues.
I mean, you got to look at it, too. It's all about image.
Yep.
That plays heavily on your fucking mindset. You know, like powerlifters, like we're fat, we're out of shape. All we want to do is be strong and lift heavy weights.
Yeah.
The image is gone.
Yeah. There's you literally. I feel like I used to like really care about like certain things before I got into powerlifting, and then when I got into like I used to like the biggest things I could tell you when I started wearing more extra large shirts. I didn't give a shit if my beard was big and burly. Like I just wanted to lift heavy and get big. I didn't give a shit about anything else. And there's a freeing thought to it. You know, there was some negative consequences with that too. I beat the shit out of my body unnecessarily. Some of that was also just, you know, knowledge that now is more available about like how to train, how to like properly recover and stuff like that. Where if you push a little too hard back in the day and you didn't have some of that knowledge, you could have, you know, put yourself back a little bit. But, you know, that's besides the point of the fact that like
it still comes back to that.
Without a doubt. So through powerlifting, through the years now, as like you've continued to own businesses and this process of letting go. I mean, there's this book called Letting Go. I can't think of the author.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a pretty. I think it's got to be very famous because it alludes to this whole idea of like, if you want to learn how to be happy in life, you want to learn how to move on, you have to let go. Yeah. And it's funny because like I'm a believer that like generational trauma and like life trauma can really hold you back and it can like really fuck with you and like it's valid. It is 100% a real thing. Generational trauma is a real thing. I think if your grandparents were very hard on your parents couldn't help but end up being hard on you, and if you don't like end up kind of realizing why they were hard on you, like it can continue to happen. But that doesn't take away the fact that we have our own self ability to say like, hey,
this isn't enough.
We live in an age where information is so readily available that like there is a point where you have to kind of make a decision. Am I going to let go and move forward, or am I going to continue to like be stuck in my patterns and my ways and not let my life improve? So would you say there was was there anything specific that helped you to really start letting go, or was it just happen and continue to like be an incremental thing that you were unaware of till you were just aware that holy shit, like I have let go of a lot of stuff that I didn't realize I had let go of?
It kind of disappeared, like I didn't realize it. But to your point where you're talking about the generational shit, right? The generational trauma or whatever happened to your family happened to, you know, down the line and just, you know, get dumped on you. I wanted to touch on that a little bit because that's what struck me in that. Because this might answer your question inadvertently. So I don't remember the point exactly, but I do remember that there was a point where I thought to myself, I don't want to be like my parents. I don't know when it was, but that was just like, I do not want to work 45 fucking years to get Social Security to retire for 5 to 10. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to put that strain on my psyche. I think I wanted to do it my way. You know what I'm saying? That's why I own the businesses. That's why I do the entrepreneurial thing. Because they're in factories and foundries and shit like that their whole life. And like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. You can make my parents make pretty good fucking money now. Back then, we didn't make shit because they were just peons. But now they're, you know, my dad drives truck and my mom, she actually just retired. But she was like a managerial positions, you know, through the foundries, but still it's the foundries. I don't want to be dirty. You know, I dress nice. This is how I go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to, like, even with my newer businesses, like, I have 2 things that are in the process. One of them I won't be dirty at all. The other one is I'm just going to plow people's yard. During the snow, I just got 2 plow trucks, so I'm going to plow, you know, on my spare time, you know, when it snows. Why not? I needed to plow my fucking, they don't plow my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to plow my fucking, for the whole neighborhood, I'm just going to plow my fucking, the street in the front, the side streets, and our alley, and everyone's driveways, just to keep the neighborhood fucking nice. And my fucking neighbor's going to love me for it.
Without
I have to do it anyway, so I'm going to just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just going to offer the neighbors this. I'll plow everything. You guys just get the sidewalks. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should be a fair deal, you know?
But people will love that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'll do that, and then And then I'm gonna just post on Facebook, like, hey, anyone needs a shit plowed, $50, come get it. Drop your address, I'll be right there. Give me $50 cash. You know what I'm saying? I don't sleep much, so if it's snowing and I'm supposed to be sleeping, I might as well go fucking make some money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure I'm gonna get sweaty and dirty from that. But I've been sweaty and dirty from like actual work in a long time. You know what I'm saying? So, but to my point is, there's something that I want to do anyway, so I'm going to make it, so I'm making money off of it. And that's the thing too, like powerlifting. It was something that I wanted to do anyway, so I'm going to figure out a way to make money off of it, like coaching. I love coaching more than I love the actual lifting. So it might make sense to get some money off. I don't make a lot of money because I don't think it should cost that much. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of the coaches are just fucking scam artists. I mean, they don't give a fuck about the people. They just want the dollar. And I don't want to be that guy. Like, I care more about you than you paying me. You know what I'm saying? Paying me is just something that's cool to happen through this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It keeps the doors open on my gym. So that's about it.
Yeah.
But like, that I think was me letting go. It's like, I don't want to be like them. I'm going to do me. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even tell you when it happened. Probably when I first got that fucking truck from the Terry Surwatt, the guy I used to work for, and I just took it over, and I'm just like, this is what I'm doing now, yeah. I don't know if that answered your question at all.
No, it does. It does.
A little bit, maybe.
So then, and this is the next question from here is, I don't know if it really relates to this as much, but so how long have you now been with Bobby?
6 years.
6 years. Would you say, like, has there been any growth for you being in what seems to me like a very healthy relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah. How has that
for
been
the most
you?
part?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, every relationship has its ups and downs. No relationship's perfect, but how's that been for you? And I'm assuming is 6 years with Bobby the longest you've had?
Oh God, yes.
Right? Okay. So how has that been like?
By far,
a change
by like
for
5
you?
years, 6 years.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so it's a big
and
difference.
it's the only healthy relationship I've ever been in. For the most part, we have pretty good communication. I mean, obviously, I'm a guy, so
we're always going to have a little rough communication between us and women. Yeah.
What was the question though?
So how do you feel like that relationship now that it's, you've been with her for 6 years and it's a healthy relationship? How has that played into your growth and your ability to continue letting go and like living this life where self-worth is not this thing that you think about anymore and that you feel like holds you back?
She pushes me.
Okay.
She don't realize it, but she does. When I first got with her, I was just coaching still. Like I didn't find a business that I really wanted to like delve into yet. And so I was just coaching. And then I got a job at ADM, American Defense.
Okay.
Making mounts and optics for guns. I needed insurance to get my blood work done, my kidneys taken care of, get a CPAP machine. And I didn't want to pay for insurance, so they offered insurance. Plus, all I had to do was the company is actually really good. They didn't really check you on. You had to be there on time every day. You could leave. I'm going to leave a little bit early today. They weren't too like on you about that shit. So I'm like, well, that fits me pretty well because I got to train at this time. I got to eat at this time. You can eat right at my desk. So I'm like, okay. My buddy Austin, he was my supervisor. So I'm like, hey, how does it actually work? I was like, because I was coaching Austin, and he's like, you looking for a job? I'm like, I don't know if I'm looking for a job, but easily. And then he's like, well, we're looking for people. If you I was like, wait, do you guys offer insurance? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, break down the day. I'm like, you got to pitch me on this because I really don't want to work. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
he's like, well, you can really do whatever you want. You listen to your music, put your fucking YouTube video up and watch that while you're working and eat whenever you want. And I'm like, all right, this sounds okay. I'm like, what about times though? Like, what time do I have to be there and when can I leave? And he's like, why? I'm like, well, is it like, am I going to get fired? This, you know, like, I was like, I don't want to be in a position where I'm just, you know, you're on my ass. You know what I'm saying? He's like, dude, I'm going to be your supervisor. You can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, I'll take your job. So I worked there for a little bit. Working there made me realize that I really do not want a fucking job ever again. I worked there for a year, got all my blood work done, maybe a little bit over a year. And I had invested money into another business venture that was making a lot of money. So I didn't have to have this fucking job, like at all. I didn't have to do this. But I got my insurance and I got my blood work done, got my kidneys figured out, I got medication, I got my CPAP machine. And then I'm like, and it came time to do the reviews and I'm like, well, if they're not going to give me this amount of money, I'm just walking out. And they gave me $2 less than what my, I'm like, so I took I had a week vacation. So I took my week vacation, came back for the day after that so my week vacation would get paid, and then I didn't go back ever again. And then I just went into that business that I started.
And that was the last time you probably worked for somebody else?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, yep.
And then 2 years after that is when I got involved in the tattoo shop.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a year after that. About two. No, it was a year. No, it was a year. Yeah, because the investment that I invested in was paying off. I would probably 9% per year.
Okay.
So it was pretty good. I invested a substantial amount, so I was getting good money off of it. So I really didn't have to work. I was like, oh, that's fine. But then the tattoo shop came across my plate. He was like, hey, I'm looking for a partner, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, open up the books. Let me see what it looks like. And so I made him an offer on a buy-in, and he accepted it. So I went into that. And that taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about the corporate, not a corporate, but shit.
Like the business side of
service
accounting?
Industry.
Okay.
Taught me a lot about the service. Don't get me wrong, I was bouncing a lot, so I knew that aspect of the service industry, but I didn't know how to deal with the actual people. You know what I'm saying? And deal with the banks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I've dealt with banks before. I've had business accounts before, but construction's different than fucking, like, this is like, it's a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Like being a subcontracting as a construction as opposed to a business with a
structure.
With a brick and mortar business.
Yes, brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Yeah, like service industry type shit. Like it's a different vibe. It's a different aspect. Granted, yeah, it's all business. You can all make it work. You can just hop in and figure it the fuck out, which I did, you know. But learning the ins and outs of the tattoo industry was pretty fucking cool. I really, really like that, and I really appreciate the opportunity that Frank gave me for that. It was a really cool thing. I'm out of it now. Him and I, we're going to sit down and talk about, you know, he's going to take that to where he wants to take it. That's his baby. The tattoo shop was his. You know what I'm saying? I have other things that I want to do. Okay,
so you're getting out of world class.
Yeah. Okay. I still say go there.
Yeah.
They got great artists.
For sure.
Know, it's the vibe of the shop is awesome.
All the work you guys did on it.
Yeah, a lot of renovations. It's beautiful in there, and it's definitely a really good tattoo shop. It'll do really good things, and they have great artists. There's just other things in my life that I want to do other than tattoo stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's where I'm at. You know. So
did Bobby kind of push you a little bit to get into that stuff?
Yeah.
And like
not into the tattoo shop, but like to be like,
Like get out of your comfort zone?
Yes. She didn't really, inadvertently, she would push me. She didn't know she was doing it.
Okay.
Like, I just felt like I had to be better for her. And I never felt that with a woman before. So when I felt that, I was like, well, this has got to mean something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so why would I turn my back to that? You know what I'm saying? So I ran with that feeling and developing options and ways in my mind of just looking at things differently. Like, okay, I could do this. Why don't I try that? That looks like it could make some money. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, I've lost money too. Like I made a couple bad decisions where I've lost a substantial amount, like bad investments. You know, shit happens. It's part of the business. You know, it's part of, you know, it is what it is. But for the most part, like, you know, I want to get into real estate. I started up a t-shirt company, which will be dropping soon. And the real estate thing, like Airbnb stuff, like we own our home now, so that's nice. And I'll have it paid off within the next year or two. Like I'm paying it off in 5 years.
That's awesome.
Because I don't like, I never knew like how interest built until they sat me down and I looked at that shit. I'm like, what's this big number down here? They're like, oh, that's what you're going to pay in total after everything's paid for. I'm like, that's more than twice what the agreed upon amount. They're like, oh, that's because of all the APR. I'm like, that's not cool with me. I'm like, so how do I get it down to this? They're like, well, you got to pay a lot a month. I'm like, I'll do that.
You got to pay that principal down quick.
Yeah. So I did the math on 5 years. I'm like, I can justify this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'll pay it off in 5 years. So.
Yeah.
And I already got half of it paid off, so I'm good.
Well, so like you had said earlier how like you're willing to deal with the consequences of your actions. You're willing to sit there and deal with them.
Yeah.
But what kind of got to you in the past was like, you know, it's hurting your family. Or like now with Bobby, like all of a sudden you were saying like you kept looking for more opportunities and more ventures because now you started seeing like how your actions were affecting somebody else that you very much cared about in your life and how much more directly it would affect her. Like, is that kind of how she inadvertently kept pushing you to want to do more?
Maybe that was
more?
it. Yeah.
Because like
because
now
she's part of my life.
Yeah. So every good thing that comes to your life,
creating a good life for her or I creates a good life for both of us.
Yeah.
You know, like buying the house, like having nice cars, doing cool, going on trips and vacations, shit like that. She loves that shit. I like it too.
Yeah.
I like the cars more than going on vacations.
Yeah. But she seems to like the cars
she
as well.
She loves cars. Yeah.
But I do think there's something very big there about like when you have a life partner and you realize like now I want to be better, not just for me, but for you too.
100%. Yeah.
And it's for the same reason that they'll say like doing acts of like charity ends up making you feel better than like doing things for yourself. It's the same way that like when you do things because it's not just for you anymore, it feels better because you're not just doing it for you anymore.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's why I got into the coaching high school powerlifting. I did that for a couple of years. That was super fun. I think that's one of the things that had me fall in love with powerlifting too. Is like kids you can do stuff like that, and it's just accepted. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? And charity work like that, like the relentless thing I did too. The shit like that is cool. You know, giving back. I like to give back. Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit more about your work with Relentless and your work with like, it's with autism, right? And like the kids with...
autism, yeah.
Right? Okay. Could you talk about that a little bit?
The Relentless thing was, I was offered the opportunity to lift in the meet 2016 or 2017. I don't remember exactly. But it's a foundation through Hope Kids that uses a powerlifting meet to generate funds for families with kids that have cancer and other life-threatening illnesses, where each, if you get the invite, it's a $500 minimum that you have to raise, and you get your own charity page, you can share it, whatever, and you just try to generate people to donate to your page for the kids, basically. And then when you do the meet, the kids are all on the stage, they're cheering you on. And some of them, I think in Detroit, you get set with your own kid, and you lift just for that kid. So you get the money for that child, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I didn't really do much with autism. I just donated.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't. Well, there was a meet I was gonna do, but then something happened and I couldn't do the meet. But it was for autism. It was in Illinois. For Autism Society of America, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. But I have gone to the meet a couple times. I didn't do the meet, but I did donate a lot of fucking money to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I really wasn't involved with the foundation. Like, I wasn't involved in it like I was involved with Relentless.
Yeah.
But Relentless is really fucking cool. Everyone in there is, the majority of the people are really nice. I mean, obviously you get some cornballs that aren't there for the kids. You know, it's more for recognition. Like, oh, look what I'm doing. And for that reason is one of the reasons I was like, I'm not going to be around this no more. This kind of, you people are getting weird. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't like you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's cool because, I mean, in powerlifting you get this a lot, but like sometimes guys that can seem like they're rough around the edges end up having such big hearts.
Oh yeah,
you know? And
100%.
like, especially somebody like who's been through a rougher life and has had more turmoil in their life. It's amazing how sometimes you can end up having a bigger heart to want to help others.
You can see the compassionate side.
Yeah.
Instead of just the fucking that mean exterior that is usually presented.
Yeah.
You know, the hard exterior shell or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you have been going to a therapist. How long have you been doing that?
Well, it's funny. This is a crazy story. So I want to say 2000 and maybe even 12, 13, 14. I don't know the exact. Whenever. Yeah, 2012 maybe, like going into 13. I was going through some fucking pretty crazy shit in my life, and I didn't want to deal with anything. I wasn't like suicidal or anything like that, but like I was kind of like on the verge of being like, fuck all this shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, who knows? I was pretty volatile and unpredictable. I could have jabbed out and beat anyone to death at any moment. Robbed fucking bank or like anything. Like I was not in the right state of mind for very much of anything. A lot of trend. A lot of trend and bad decisions led me to a real dark place. And I was on state insurance, Obama insurance or whatever it was at the time. Obamacare?
Obamacare, yeah.
Yeah. So I went to I don't know if I went to the ER, if I actually sought out a mental health facility. Either way, it was paid for by the state. I just knew I needed some fucking help. Before I did something fucked up, which I didn't want to do. So I sought out a therapist, and they gave me this lady, who I see now. So they gave me her, and I'm like, oh, it's a fucking chick, whatever, you know. So I started talking to her, and she turned out to be fucking awesome. And she dug into my, the whole shit with my dad that committed suicide and all that shit, my mommy issues, I guess you could say. Shit like that or whatever. And but the state only pays for so much. See, I think we got like 16 sessions. And then she petitioned for another 10, but that was all the state. They're like this, after this is that you ain't getting no more, And I seen her once a week. So I got like 24 sessions total, I believe. Yeah, because it was like just under a half a year or something like that.
Okay.
And then I couldn't see her anymore. And then I lost my phone that had her number in it. And this is fucking 10 years ago now, right? So, and like Bobby and I are pretty open about most things. And she's like, because she sees a therapist as well. And she's like, do you ever think about going back to your therapist? I was like, actually, I've been thinking about that. And I'm like, I couldn't even fucking find her if I wanted to. And she's like, well, you could look her up, right? I'm like, I don't even remember her fucking name. I was like, I definitely could, if I seen a picture of her, that would be her. I know, I'm really good with faces, horrible fucking names. So she's like, well, go on this website. Maybe you'll find her on there. Bam, there she was. I'm like, no fucking way. So I emailed, because there was an email. She was working at this place in Waukesha. She oversees like the whole facility. She doesn't even practice anymore, right? So I reached out to her. I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me from 10 years ago, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'd really like to talk to you, blah, 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 this and that. And then I called the facility that she worked at, just in case that was like an old email that she doesn't check. I don't know. It wasn't on LinkedIn or anything. It was this fucking website. Like, I don't know how this shit works. So I called the number that was on the thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking for, I'm not going to say her name because of this, because I don't know if she, blah, blah, blah. And she, like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, oh, okay. Do you know anyone that could figure this out for me? I was like, because it says she works here. Well, let me transfer you over here. Transfer me over there. They're like, I think she's in management, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, do you see her name anywhere? She's like, oh, yeah, here it is. I can transfer you over there. So sent me over there. And I got her voicemail. So I left her a fucking voicemail, and she called me back. Yeah, so I've been seeing her now.
So she was willing to take you on?
She had to go through some hoops to make sure that she could take me on, but she wanted to work with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So she definitely remembered you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She emailed me back. She's like, definitely remember you. She's like, I do not practice anymore because of my job. And because of my job, I would have to ask the facility if I could see you outside of this on my time. So she does it on her own time. So she'll get done with work. I see her Wednesdays. So when she gets done with work, we usually go to like a collectivo or something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for like an hour and a half or so. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I think it takes a lot to be willing to pursue that, be vulnerable enough to do it, and realize that there's something to be gained and learned from it.
Well, she helped me out a lot when back then, she definitely helped me out a lot. And I don't feel comfortable with people talking about my past shit. So I didn't want to start over with another fucking therapist. That would suck.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I'd rather just deal with the shit and die with it,
Yeah. No, it's very hard to feel like you got to fill somebody in just to get to the point that they can finally help you.
Exactly. So how long is this going to take?
Yeah.
And $150 an hour, this is not going to be cheap either.
Yeah. And you don't want to be 10 hours in and realize, fuck, I really don't like the shit they're saying.
Exactly.
I don't feel like we're processing shit the way.
We're not vibing. We're not there. So I'm just out $1,500.
Yeah. So now how long have you been seeing her again?
Only a couple of weeks, because it took us a long time to cut through the fucking tape.
Yep.
Because, she had to, because of her license, she could see me, obviously, but it couldn't be at the facility. So she was trying to work ways around. She was I'm her only client. I'm it. She doesn't want to, she's like, I have to be with, she's like, you called me. It was like a sign. I have to help you. I have to be here for you. I'm like, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, she gave me options. She's like, you can come to the clinic and I'll oversee, because I'm the manager here, you going with somebody else, but I don't practice in my clinic. It's not my job description. And blah, blah, blah. She's like, so if you wanted to go with another person, we can transition you from me to her. This is someone I trust. I'm like, I don't want to do that. She's like, okay, then we'll figure it out. I'm like, all right, cool. She like made it work. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. So back when you first saw her, 10 years ago, would you say like the big benefit from it, was it that you felt like she was able to give you insights into things that you had not quite realized about what you were dealing with? Like, where do you feel like the benefit came from with talking to her and having those sessions?
I'll be honest, I don't even remember. But I do, like, through the whole process, I guess you could say, was I became more calm and more accepting with who I was and who I wasn't, I guess you could say. Just through those 24 weeks that I did see her, like, I lost a lot of the aggression and anger, but I probably just put it right back into the barbell, which is fine because at least it wasn't going out into society.
Yeah.
But she may have helped that direct it, to where it should be going, where my anger and fucked up emotions could go, instead of doing it other ways or falling back on drugs or whatever. That was my main thing. I just didn't want to get back into drugs.
Yeah.
Well, once I start doing that, I just don't stop. And I've done cocaine since 2016. Cocaine, meth, or anything hard. I haven't done it since 2016. And I don't want to either. I mean, I do want to. Don't get me wrong. I fucking want to. I'm just, no, it's not going to end well. Because there's no end until I go to jail. Like, my life has shown that. Like, every time I start doing cocaine and all that other fucked up drugs and shit like that, like, it's going to end badly because it's just not good for me. You know what I'm saying? So, at that time, I was only clean for 2013, roughly, for 7 years. Now I'm going on fucking 20 years. April.
Wow.
April, 2006. No, so yeah, 18. So I'll be going on 18 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You had said 2016 before you had meant 2006, right?
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When I got locked up the last time.
Yes. Okay. That's kind of what I thought you meant, and I didn't think you had.
Yeah, I get dates always fucked up.
Yeah. So for you, your mental health really, anger and aggression is almost like your symptom of your mental health.
Yeah.
So would you say, like, do you battle more of like an anxiety or depression? Like
anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Where your brain just spins and spins
Always.
and spins.
Yeah, so I can't sleep at night.
You can't shut it the fuck up, and that's where like the drugs came in. They can kind of cloud that brain, get it to shut the fuck up, quiet down, or
it directs it.
Directs it. So then
with meth, because I have ADHD, it calmed me.
Yes. Yeah. That release of dopamine.
Yeah.
It made you feel.
I'm focused now. Like, yeah, if I do enough of it, I'm like, ooh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm focused now. I'm not like most people when they do meth, they're like all geeked out, right? But me, I'm like, oh, okay, we're good now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why, like, Adderall, like, I'll take Adderall if I have to go on like a road trip or I have to drive a long distance because I'm always looking around. Like, I pop fucking a half of a 30 and I'm focused now. I'm focused for the next 10 hours. I could drive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like a calm focus.
Yeah.
Not like a sped up focus.
Yeah. If I take too much, but I don't want to. Even when I take those, though, too, I feel when it starts to wear off a little bit, I want to take more, but I literally have to talk to myself, like, don't leave it alone. Leave it. You only need this to drive. You know what I'm saying? I have to, otherwise I will take more. But when I go on those, like the last road trip I went on, I only took 2 pills. So, like, and I split them in half because I don't want to take a whole one. And it'll get me good for 10 hours this way, 10 hours that way, 10 hours this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I make sure that I don't fucking overdo it.
I think, like, one thing that people who've never been addicted to anything can't appreciate about somebody who's been through addiction and has had to conquer it and now live life without it is that, like, that voice never fucking goes away.
Never.
It's always going to be there.
Do more, do more, do more.
You just learn how to be better about shutting it out and like making that voice just a background voice. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to act on what it's saying.
You literally just, it brings me back to being in prison when I was in the hole. You just could talk to yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's just like another conversation, you know?
So what are some of your best coping strategies over the years that you've built up?
With drugs?
Drugs and just mental health in general. Managing the aggression, managing the anger that comes from the anxiety and...
Walking away.
Okay.
I have to walk away.
Like physically walk away from a situation.
You could be in mid-conversation, I'll just walk the fuck away. Especially if I start getting angry. When Bobby and I, we obviously, everybody argues, I'll walk away. Sometimes I'll walk away, sometimes I won't. But if it gets to the point where like I feel like I'm getting like enraged, like I should walk away, I have to walk away. So I'll do something stupid. I don't want to do something stupid. And I'll do it mid-conversation and just walk the fuck away. Or if I'm on the phone, just hang up. I want to deal with this. I just won't deal with it.
It's not worth it.
Walk away. Yeah, it's probably the best thing I can do. Otherwise, I'm going to say something fucked up or do something fucked up. And with drugs, I can be in a room while people are doing fucking drugs. I could give a fuck anymore. Like I just feel like I'm good with that. I'm straight. Like I don't even care at this point. It's been so long. Like I don't even in the back of my mind. Yeah, I want to do it. I want to be part of the group, but I'm okay with not doing it either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's whatever. If I touch it, that's a different thing. You know, I can be around it, but I just can't touch it. You know what I'm saying?
I think like the older you get, the more you realize how important it is that you have to protect your mental health.
Yeah.
Or like when you're younger, you almost don't even think about it. You don't realize that your mental health is a thing you have to protect, just like you might want to protect your physical health.
Yeah.
But the older you get, the more you realize, holy shit, my mental health is like, it's a very tangible thing.
It really is.
And there's inputs to it. And if I don't control those inputs to my mental health, then I have no fucking control of the output.
100%. Like if I don't, like I said, if I do any type, like, don't get me wrong, I can eat mushrooms and go for a fucking hike. I love doing that because actually it helps me. Bobby's like, she's like, you are the best version of yourself for the next couple of weeks after you shroom. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, you're just calm, easygoing. I'm like, yeah, it kind of centers me. You know, I need to do that, you know. But other drugs, I can't do that. But I wouldn't want to shroom every fucking day either. I mean, maybe microdose.
Yeah.
I mean, like slightly, you know, but I wouldn't want to fucking blast off, you know.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of cool thing about shrooms is you can't really get addicted to them because they wear out. The effects wear out, and eventually your brain cannot release more of what it releases the way it would with a dopamine, antagonist drug that's just going to continue to dump more dopamine.
Yeah.
Higher doses means more dopamine.
Yeah.
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 So, looking back now, you've come so far from like when you were younger, you've come so far with like managing your mental health and stuff like that. Is there like any words that like you wish you could go back and say to your younger self?
I don't even know if I would.
Let it go, right?
Yeah.
Just let it go. You move past it.
I'm straight right where I'm at.
I mean, I think that's such a powerful thing that a lot of people lack is this ability to say, like, no matter what has happened in the past, all that matters is the fact that I have control of the future. You can't control the past.
And plus, would I be the same person? I like who I am.
Yeah.
Who would I be otherwise? And Bobby made a really good point. We were talking about it the other day, the hockey shit. Like, and, was it Bob? Yeah, it was Bobby I was talking about hockey because I'm always like, oh, look at this play on, and she's just like, oh, yeah. She actually liked going to the game that we went to the Blackhawks game for my Christmas gift.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so she got the vibe. She's like, I can see why everyone likes this shit. This is really cool. I'm like, yeah, it's rad. But like I was talking about, had I not gone down the path I did, I'd have been in the NHL and I would have had millions and millions and millions of dollars. And but what type of person would I have been?
Completely different.
Yeah. Who would I have been? I don't know. I don't know who the fuck I would have been. I can't, you can only guess, you know, like, who was I back then? You know? I don't even know who I was back then.
Yeah.
So what, if I would go back and change not doing drugs and getting into that lifestyle, I wouldn't know who the fuck I would be at 43 years old, having gone through whatever the fuck I would have gone through. Would I even have made it to 43?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, money and fame changes people in different ways.
yes, it does.
Not always good.
No.
A lot of times it can be negative and it can be bad. Especially sometimes when somebody coming from a rougher life gains that fame and that money.
Especially when it's fast.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But like you said, I mean, everything you've been through makes you exactly who you are, makes you as tough as you are, makes you have that survival instinct.
Yeah.
It makes you have that hustle in your brain that says, keep fucking moving forward. Doesn't matter how bad it is. Figure out a different way to move forward. Don't just give up, because giving up is easy. Doing the easy thing is always easy. You know, there's a reason it's the easy thing. It's the easy thing to not take care of yourself, not take care of your mental health. Just ignore it and put it on the back burner. Do you think that nowadays, like, would you recommend to other men who deal with mental health problems to like pursue therapy, pursue like making it an active thing that they work on?
I think here's my thing. I wouldn't tell them to pursue it. I would tell them to think I would tell them to think about it. And if they feel like there's any way that they could benefit from it, they should probably listen to themselves. If you really honestly think you're not going to benefit from it, then don't do it. But if you think you can benefit anything from it, fucking do it.
That's a good point, because
otherwise you're not going to be receptive to it.
That's a very good point. If you don't believe you're going to benefit, your brain's not going to let you be open enough to it. Yeah.
You got to be in the right spot. You know, like I've seen, I've gone through 3+ years of fucking therapies and programs and bullshit, just on bullshit I didn't want to be in. I never, you know, did I gain a lot of knowledge from it? Maybe, but I wasn't receptive to it. I didn't use it. It was only until I sought this lady out that I actually implemented anything that she has that fucking talked to me about. And that's probably one of the reasons why that she was the only one that I wanted to talk to be honest, because I was just to the point where I just needed for myself, and I wanted it for myself. All the other times it was forced on me by the courts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to go to AODA class. Fuck do I look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to do this program to get out of prison early. I did 10.5 months at Bootcamp. It was rational thinking, criminal thinking, AODA, all day long. 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day for 10.5 months.
You're going to resent that.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I went back and I did a 3-month program for 6 hours a day of AODA and criminal thinking. I get out, I have to do 6 months of fucking AODA. Oh, each time I got out, I had to do 6 months of AODA afterwards.
What is AODA?
Alcohol and Other Drug Abuse Program.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can do the math on that. That's a lot of fucking programming.
Yeah.
I think I've done enough programming.
And it's shit that you didn't volunteer to do it. You were told to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're going to be not receptive to that.
Yeah, and that's what I learned. Like it doesn't matter. You guys put me through all this bullshit. I ain't gonna fucking learn unless I want to learn it. It's the same thing as like school. You know, like okay, I can read about the presidents. Do I really give a fuck about it? No. Am I ever gonna use this? No, because I don't want to. You know, if I wanted to be an English teacher or something like that, then I'll need this. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure.
If I don't want to get sober, I'm not gonna need this.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big, right? Most people who get very addicted to something or become alcoholics, you almost have to hit some type of rock bottom to get better again. Otherwise, if you still think that it's the better alternative is to go back to drinking or to go back to the drug,
do it.
You're gonna fucking do it.
You're gonna find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing though too. If you want it bad enough, you're gonna find a way to do it or not to do it. It's a fine line right there, especially addict. That line is very fucking thin, and you're tap dancing on that motherfucker the whole time.
Yeah. I think addiction and addiction recovery is such an understated thing, especially in this country, especially what we went through with the whole opioid epidemic.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I personally commend people that have gone through addictions of harder drugs and have been able to come back from it and spend time sober and like reflect back on it.
It's not easy.
No, I mean, I think it's beyond not easy. I think it puts you into this place where like most normal people who've never dealt with it, have never had some turmoil in their life that caused them to go down that road and then have to get back from it. They can't comprehend
not at all.
the strength and like the perseverance it takes to get back from that. Because for the rest of your life, you're gonna have that fucking voice, and like for the rest of your life, you can't really ever let your guard down.
Yeah.
And there's so many people out there who can live these like blissful lives and let their guards down and like, I drink every once in a while. I do this every once in a while, but I have control of it. Like, to understand what an addiction means and like the way that takes over your brain and the fact that you have to battle that every fucking day. And even if that battle gets easier over time, it's still a battle every day.
Yeah.
That people don't appreciate it. And I think I really commend people that have been able to do that and get through it. So, I mean, I think that's huge. 20 years is fucking, almost 20 years, 18 years. It's fucking, that's awesome. And I think it builds a lot of character that you can't build otherwise. And not that you want to build that character, but you have it now.
Yeah.
It's there, and it's very much part of your personality, and it's going to continue to push you to be better.
Oh, yeah. And I think that actually did push me the most. Like, because it's always a monkey on your back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at any given time, I could fucking fold.
But it gives you this like point in time to look back on and be like, look how much better I am.
Yeah.
Look at what I've done and how much more I've moved forward and how much more I can still move forward.
Definitely.
Plus, how many fucking people have lost that battle? Way more have lost it than won it.
Just concede, you're better off.
Yeah. And
because you're not going to win.
Yeah.
It's not a winning battle.
Yeah.
You got to concede and be like, okay, you got this. Bye. You won.
Well, fuck, man. I really appreciate you coming and
for sure.
doing this today. This was a great conversation. I think a lot of great things that like people will have something to learn from and to appreciate, because you've been through a lot, and I think you have a very, there's a quote about this where like the more turmoil, like the more you've been through in life, and I don't know the exact quote, but like the more there's stories and chapters in your book, right?
Oh yeah.
And you have all these chapters, and I'm sure some of those times were fucking hell, but you're all the better for it now.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. I think a lot of people can like learn from that and like take something away from that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. A lot of men can learn a lot about what that means to be down and get back up eventually.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the quote is either, but it's something about every time you get knocked down, if you get back up, like there's only one way to go. So it's always up.
Yeah.
All you got to do is get up. It's that simple.
And getting up's a skill.
Yeah.
You learn how to get that. You develop qualities and characteristics that make you better at getting up every time you get back down.
Definitely.
Yeah. And eventually, you never really win the battle, but you learn how to have much more control of the war.
That's life.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Unturned Stones. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe and follow the page. Otherwise, have a great day. Fuck yeah, brother, man. This is awesome. I really